Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Dawn Tracy and I am back for day 16 of the 21-day prayer challenge. Today's prayer focus is to pray for God's favor over our plans. The scripture focus is Psalms 90, verse 17. It says, "May the favor of the Lord our God rest on us. Establish the work of our hands for us." Yes, establish the work of our hands. In this psalm, the psalmist spends the majority of the time writing about God's sovereignty, essentially. And that contrast of God's sovereignty with really the finiteness of man. Our days are numbered, our days are limited. But God is everlasting, God is forever. And he's highlighting just really how small we are in comparison to how big God is. At one point, the psalmist even says that 1,000 years in the sight of the Lord it's like yesterday, just as casual as yesterday is for us, a day that just has passed already. For us, it's been 1,000 years. And so it's just showing just how big and how much God lives outside of time. Time does not restrict this great God. The psalmist spends about 11 verses in that lane. And then the psalmist shifts around verse 12 and it becomes, to me, what feels like a prayer or a cry out to God. The psalmist is using language that kind of points in the direction of, God, whatever days I have on this earth, can you make them great? Satisfy me with your steadfast love, he says at one point. He says, as many days as I have on this earth, make me glad in them. He's asking the Lord to let his power be shown to his children. And so we see the psalmist asking God for some things to happen throughout his life on the earth. It's a limited time, but he wants that life to be one filled with the hand of God. And so he ends that with the verse that I read today. He's saying, God, with your favor, establish the work of my hands, the things that I do, the things that I aspire to do, the things that I set out to do, establish it. Otherwise, it's just frivolous work. So what we can learn from this psalmist is to pray for God's favor, acknowledging that success in our lives is directly connected to the hand of God being present in our lives. And I believe that God's favor, it not only brings success to our plans, but it brings purpose to our plans. As believers, we don't just want to be successful, we want to be purposeful. Having success just for the sake of having it, well, we can't take that with us when we leave this earth. Maybe we build generational wealth with that, but what about the wealth of our souls? What about generational wealth in the place of our soul and our spirits? What about passing down purpose to our children? Not only success. So the favor of the Lord helps us to not just have success, but purposeful success. I think that's what the psalmist was pointing at in verse 16. He said, may your deeds be shown to your servants, your splendor to their children. And this isn't the only place in scripture where we see prayers that will impact generations. The people of God in the Bible understood the generational impact of their relationship with God. And I think it's important that returns to the minds and the hearts of believers, that we pass this down to our children. And so we need the favor of the Lord so that we can pass both success and purpose to our children or to the generation that's coming behind us. Seeking God's favor reminds us to depend on him for his strength and his guidance. It reminds us that we cannot do this in our own strength. Our strength is finite. It exists within the confines of time, and God lives outside of time. So as I wrap up this video, I want you to simply pray Psalms 90, verse 17. Pray the words directly to God, asking him to let his favor rest upon you and ask him to establish the work of your hands. And if you are praying this in combination with what we talked about yesterday and even all the prayers that we're going to do for the rest of this week, then the work of your hands will become aligned with the will of God. And so what he will establish will be purposeful and it will be aligned with his will. I want you to be very intentional about dedicating your plans to God. You can't say, God, give me favor, but then hide your plans behind your back, hide your plans from him, even though you can. He's sovereign, he sees all, but you get what I'm saying. You can't try to keep your plans from his hands and then say, God bless it. That's not how it works. When you say, God bless it, you are extending it to him. You are giving it to him. So dedicate those plans and those dreams back to God and ask him for his favor on them. Ask him to establish the work of your hands. So that's all I have for you today as I wrap up day 16 of the 21 Day Prayer Challenge. I see you back here tomorrow for day 17. Have a blessed day.